JT.
Oh, no, came by hara mai te whananga no hau I te Melbourne Storm. Jump on board, cuz.
Well, all I can say is JT, he's always had class, and he's tended to, pick the right teams, and as I made mention, for good reason. Some great players in the Storm lineup, and from a city where AFL rules, they do exceptionally well in spreading the gospel of rugby league there. But they're just a good team to watch, and for me, that's what it's all about. Especially when you come home and you kick back and you want to watch a hard game of running footy.
One of the things that I did want to talk about, I suppose, is the Storm. From their inception, right from the very beginning, when the Storm got started, I personally I didn't think they'd do all too great. Usually you have to kind of build up to become a great club. But boy, I tell you what, almost right from the get-go, they had already had, I don't know, systems or something already in place there, JT, eh?
Yeah, and Ra touched on the AFL. AFL, people might not know how much of a megalith, a monolith, or whatever
Yes.
it is, a megatron. It's an absolute beast of an organisation in places like Melbourne and Adelaide, Perth. Melbourne is the home of AFL, so to put a rugby league side there was almost like a poke in the eye to the AFL. But to the Storm's credit, since day one, they've had good signings. Glenn Lazarus, Tawhiwhirangi, Nico,
Yep.
Guys like that. Who was no name back then, but so straight away got a lot of the Kiwi community on board because they had players
Yes.
they could identify with. Steve Cooney came in the second year, and they had that success straight away, and they played a pretty interesting brand of football. Britt Kamali was instrumental in that. Scott
Yep.
Hill, some good halves, and it's just built on that success of the first couple of years, and they've just maintained it all the way through. And for some reason, mate, it seems to have worked, and now, you go back down there 21 years later, and a lot of people do know that the Melbourne Storm, who they are, and even
Yep.
some of the players down there, recognised around the streets, which in an AFL is an absolute religion, is
Yep.
a good coup for them.
Yes.
So, yeah, absolutely, 100%. Good organisation, and it's great to be a fan since day one.
And one of the things too, true that from day one, brilliant. And one of the things that have endeared, in particular Kiwis, Reno, in particular Kiwis, because there are a lot of Kiwi fans who have followed the Storm almost from the inception, if not so. They've had them since they got started, haven't they, Reno?
Yeah, they have, mate. Look, I've got family who've been Melbourne Storm fans. I can't understand the AFL. They love the league and being there wearing their purples every time they come back out to whānau tangihana or something to do with the whānau. They've got their Storm gears on. They love it. And I think JT hit it on the head, really,
Yes.
with the induction of the Kiwi players. And obviously Kiwis and Māori at that as well, if they can recognise and have some familiarity to it. We all call each other cuz, all this type of stuff. And that just connects us straight away. So you can see why the Kiwis, a lot of Kiwis up there in Melbourne as well, and they just jump on board the team. And it's just good to see. Been like that since they started back in the day, and they've come through to what they've achieved in their short time of existence is huge compared to other teams that have been around for many decades. You can't. Bro, they're a top franchise.
Absolutely.
You can't take it away from them. And the way they operate on and off the field is just amazing. Great. It's great for the game of league.
I think so. And it, right from day dot, as you mentioned, HAT, there've always been Kiwis involved with the team, haven't there? Even so much so that on Anzac Day, when they had their game against the Warriors, nearly half that team were Kiwis, weren't they?
Yeah, it's been a marketing coup, actually. And back in the first couple of years, they had Marcus Bai. He was an absolute hero, idolised by all the people up there in Papua New Guinea, where rugby league is an absolute religion. So that was another good signing. And Marcus Bai was a fan favourite early on. And I'll tell you a story. First home game they had against the North Sydney Bears. We had a 25-seater bus, and heading out from where we were at the southeastern arterial towards Olympic Park, and the traffic was just chaotic. we couldn't get anywhere. So I reached across, opened the door, and I said to one of the bro, I said, "Here, bro, here's your ticket. See you in there." And he goes, "What? Did you mean?" Because it was quick.
Right.
So poor old. Oh, actually, so he rocks up just before half time after finally to park the bus, and we're all in there having a couple of beers, having a bit of a laugh. So, yeah, poor, he never let me live that one down.
I bet he didn't. Anyway, let's go to rugby. Of course, we kicked off the weekend with the Blues Hurricanes game there. Reno, did you catch any of that game?
Yeah, mate. Tell you what, Geordie Barrett, wicked game overall. But yeah, the Blues, they were good, man.
They were.
No, the Blues. Sorry, the Hurricanes. The Blues were good, but the Hurricanes.
Yes. Yeah, well, the Blues, they had they scored the first try. They were good early on as well. I thought they were their forwards were a bit more dominant, certainly in the early part of the game. But, well, the Hurricanes, even though it was a 22-12 scoreline, it was a lot closer than what it could have been. Well, probably what it should have been, quite frankly. It was actually quite a good close game, and I think it wasn't until when did Bodie...
Intercept try, Bodie Barrett.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't until
that... It basically was just defense by the Hurricanes.
Great defense,
shut the Blues down.
Yes.
And you're right, the Blues... Yeah, they were kicking themselves. They really could have won there, but history shows they haven't beaten the Hurricanes for a while, especially at home and in the country. But the Canes played well. They're Geordie Barrett, mate. He played extremely well. TJ Perenara.
Yeah.
Right up there is the top number 9 at the moment, just the way he controls it, how he masterminds it, and how he played the spoiler part on Akira Ioane there. And, I just hope someone one day knocks that Rico over, I tell you what, he brasses me off. I hope someday someone gives him a wallet.
You got to be pretty quick.
He's too smart for his own good.
Yeah, you got to be pretty quick to catch that guy, though. In order to get a wallop from him, you need some 1 or 2 or 3 people to try and slow him down, and even that's sometimes not enough because he's got plenty of quicks.
I was going at the screen. Geordie, punch him in the head. Honestly. He's a smart-ass little mouth. I would have smacked him.
Now, I know you were going for the Blues in that game there,
I was, Keithy, and, I keep sort of standing by the fact it's not this season, next season. I mean, they're coming through quite a few lousy years of footy, but I think, they do show glimpses, and if they can get competitive with a lot of teams for the remainder of the season, it puts them in good stead for next year. But as we know, the hard yards are done on the field, and the players still need to gel. But it's not for want of raw kind of energy and talent. They've got some good players in that Auckland side, but it's like most things. The success of the team is how they play together, and sadly, I'm saying maybe next year.
They have got good players in that Blues team, though, haven't they, Reno? They have got good players.
Yeah,
They've got lots of talent.
They do. They just need to play it as a team. They've got some brilliant players in there, and they're just a few things. They've got the makings of being a good team and dominant. They've showed other previous years as well. But, it's only Leon's first year there. Give him a chance, and he's turned them around a bit. I would guess this year's been a lot better than the previous.
Yeah,
they've been there or thereabouts.
That's true. It has been a lot better. Of course, it couldn't have gotten too much worse, though, could it, Reno? But the Blues...
No, well, they play the Chiefs next week.
Yes. Yeah, we'll see how things go there, eh? The Blues, the only team this weekend, the only New Zealand team, I should say, this weekend, who lost... the Crusaders, boy, they just steamrolled over the Bulls, eh?
Yeah, they were just dominant. That was just a clinical game of rugby, watching all of that stuff. Just a try feast. Actually, just like the Melbourne Storm last night, mate. Sevu Reece, a hat-trick, Richie Mo'unga. How good is he? The bounce of the ball went their way. Yeah. The lock running down the sideline as well.
Yes.
It's going to be hard to knock this team over. Already you would think, what are we, week 13, 5 more to go. The team's pretty well now, summed up the whole championship, but anything is possible at the business end. No doubt they'll meet an African team along the line somewhere. But, yeah, the Crusaders, one word, clinical.
Yeah, very, very much so. Now, Ra, you'll be happy to know that your other two teams, the Crusaders, your new supporting, the new team that you're supporting, obviously had a big win, but your former clubs that you support also had wins as well. The Highlanders had a good win over the Aguaris. Actually, I'm not even sure if it was a good win. It must have been an ugly win because it was, 32-27? Probably shouldn't have been as close as that, eh? What do you reckon, Ra?
Yeah, well, we'll take the 2 victories, Keith. I mean, you got to take what you can get as we, approach the part of the competition. But look at that Canterbury Crusaders match. You could see that something was going to give with the Red and Blacks after their draw last weekend, and pity the team they took it out on over this weekend. But you could see that coming from a mile away. If you can hold even the Super Crusaders, they're going to come back the following round and, make you pay for it. So I pity the full team, which happened to be the Bulls.
Yeah.
But my two sides, I think, as I say, we'll take the wins. Still a few more games to go, but I think, victories, they do build a team with confidence, something that the Blues are lacking, and that's all the Blues are lacking, really, as the boys have made mention. They've got the talent, but they're just not gelling it as a unit. Now, if they can build their confidence, like my two teams, I think that'll carry them through for another few rounds as we head into the semis and the finals.
Now, the Sharks also, they played pretty well as well against the Chiefs. The Chiefs were just able to come away with a win there, Ra. So,
yeah. Well, not much in that game, really, Keithy, and you take your hat off to the Sharks. They're no easy beats, but the Chiefs will be happy with after a couple of pitiful performances as of late. So they'll take it and they'll sort of regroup and look forward to the match coming up. That's all or nothing now.
Now, the Hurricanes next week, they're up against the Hagawaris, who remain in the country, which should be it's an interesting game, that one, Rino. I mean, the Hagawaris, they're having a pretty good season, considering, aren't they?
Yeah, they'll be reeling. Obviously, their loss against the Highlanders, they've already got the video and referee done the scrutiny now after 3 penalties right at the end there, and kind of justified. You can see why they nearly got into a fight at the end. They got quite ugly. At the game, but they'll be feeling hard done by, so they'll come out to play up against the Hurricanes. But the Hurricanes think they're kind of striking it right and preparing themselves for the business end side of things. Be a hard ask for them. Sharks, we saw them drew against the Crusaders last week. We knew they weren't going to be any easy beats, and the Chiefs had to come from behind. A couple of brilliant tackles there, especially from the locks in the number 8 there, and the old Blondie back there from injury at number 7, he got through for a try. But there's been some real close games, and especially these teams that travel into our country, you would think would be a write-off.
Yep.
Then you take a look at the Crusaders going to Africa. It is no longer a fair place, I would guess, because the Highlanders head over to play the Lions next week.
Yeah.
You got the Blues and the Chiefs, Hurricanes hosting the Argentinians, and the Crusaders are still in Africa against the Stormers. So it's right at this business end of the Super Rugby.
Blues Chiefs, it seems like, at least in the New Zealand conference, the best of the worst playing each other?
Yeah, I can actually maybe see the Blues winning that game. I hate to say against my side, the Chiefs, but, the lacklustre season they've had this year sort of won't put them in good stead. And, when you've got an Auckland side that has nothing to lose, essentially, but, forward plan for next year, I think they're going to come out all guns blazing, as we sort of said. There is talent plenty in that side, and we just haven't seen them consistently, game in, game out, sort of start to play as a successful team. But I think my Chiefs, my Waikato team, could well be on the end of a backlash.
Nothing to brag about beating the Chiefs this season, Reno? Even the Sunwolves are beating the Chiefs these days. What do you reckon?
Oh, yeah, anything's possible. This Blues team, I thought they were going to win and beat their opponents last weekend, because there's always that team they knock over to upset the tail end of the Super Rugby, whether it be the Chiefs this weekend coming up or next weekend when they take on the Crusaders. It's going to be one of those teams, and they're going to cause a big upset. They always do it every single year.
Indeed, they do. Anyway, real quick,